all my life I felt like I didn't fit in, that there was something wrong with me because I couldn't understand the way that other people thought or the way that they acted, and it was just weird. So I finally realized that there was nothing wrong with me and that I was just different, and that's okay. I actually had no clue until it was pointed out to me from my former work colleagues. We were in the office one day talking about stuff, and I simply mentioned, I was like, oh, geez, from the sounds of that, I'm probably autistic. And my bosses turned around and said, sure as shit, you're autistic, Mel. And I went, oh. And everybody else in the room agreed. There were so many whys and internalizing that I was the problem. So having now identified that I'm just different and that my brain's just wired differently, that is so healing for me. Everything that happens to us in life is a lesson, and it's up to us to find that lesson. And that's such an empowering aspect of looking at the less than desirable, let's put it that way. Those situations always come with the biggest lessons. I finally feel comfortable to be me and to not put on a mask and try to be someone that's got it all together. For me, feeling like it's okay to be me, I give permission for others to do the same.
Hey everyone, it's Sophia from Sacred You. Thank you so much for being here. A quick message before we dive into today's conversation. You may have been watching the podcast videos, but have not had a chance to hit that subscribe button. So if you have ever gained value from our videos, from our conversations, it would mean so much to us if you would hit that subscribe button below right now, or even just give us a like. And what that means is not only does it allow us to grow our subscriber base, but it allows us to bring in more important guests for you to listen to, and you will be one of the first ones to be notified. So please hit that subscribe button and let's get started on today's conversation. Welcome to the Pathways to Wellbeing podcast. My name's Sophia from Sacred You, and with me today in this episode, I am so excited and so honoured to be talking to the beautiful Mel. Thank you for joining us, Mel.
Thanks for having me, Sophia. It's lovely to be here.
You're welcome, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation because it is something close to my heart. I really want to go into why you consider your life is your greatest gift because you're different. Why you consider being different as your greatest gift. And to let our listeners know a little bit about you, Mel. So you're a trauma-informed social worker, an intuitive life coach, and an energy healer who identifies as neurodivergent and highly sensitive, which we definitely want to talk about. So we want to go into that, but can you first share, Mel, what led you to explore the possibility that you were neurodivergent? Let's talk about that first.
Oh, okay. This is a somewhat little bit of a raw topic, but so excuse me if I get emotional because this is, again, another trauma healing part of my life. But I actually was completely unobservant, had no clue until it was pointed out to me from my former work colleagues. So I had a boss who had been late diagnosed as autistic, and then, of course, the other members of our team also had either identified as being autistic or ADHD or had ADHD. And they were talking about, we were in the office one day talking about stuff, and I simply mentioned, I was like, oh, geez, from the sounds of that, I'm probably autistic. And my bosses turned around and said, sure as shit, you're autistic, Mel. And I went, oh. And everybody else in the room agreed. And it was like, okay. And they didn't say it as to be an insult. It was more of a welcoming type thing. So, of course, being me, I deep dove down that rabbit hole, and I've watched a lot of stuff on ADHD and what it's like to be an autistic woman. And I have looked at that and gone, oh. that's when, for me, the light bulb went on and everything about my life started to make sense. Wow. I wasn't expecting to get emotional about that part, but all my life I felt like I didn't fit in, and that there was something wrong with me because I couldn't understand the way that other people thought or the way that they acted, and it was just weird. So to have that realization, I finally realized that there was nothing wrong with me and that I was just different, and that's okay. And so now I'm embracing that I'm different and that's okay. And because I was always self-berating. That's probably been a common theme with all my life, is go, oh my God, what is wrong with me? Like, why can't I handle this? Or why do I get so easily annoyed? Why can't I go to large gatherings where there's lots of people and not freak out? And why do I have to spend so much time alone? There were so many whys, and internalizing that I was the problem. So having now identified that I'm just different, that my brain's just wired differently, it has freed me up from feeling like that I'm the problem. And that is so healing for me. I've been on a healing journey now for over 20 years. And each time it's like peeling back a layer, like peeling back an onion. Each layer, it's that deeper healing. And for me, this one has made probably the biggest impact, because it's not nice to think that there's something wrong with you. Yeah.
And I hear that. And thank you for sharing that. And I agree that it's not nice to think about to think of yourself as something wrong. But can I just take a moment, Mel, and just to honor you? Because I believe that we are all different. And to me, being different is normal. I hear you about growing up thinking that you were different, that you didn't fit in this place. So just thank you for sharing. So let's just take a moment for us and for everyone out there, for all the women out there who are listening and watching to our podcast, who also believe or identify as being different, that I don't belong here. I don't belong in this world. I grew up like that totally. So thank you for sharing that. And what about now? What about now? Once you've gone through that, so can I just clarify, are you actually officially diagnosed as autistic, or is it just something because people have been saying that?
I've done online quizzes that have come back that I most definitely am, but trying to find an affordable way to be officially diagnosed is my battle at the moment. I had put in a referral to see a psychiatrist, and I was told then that it was a 12-month wait, which was over 12 months ago. I contacted the organizer, it was a hospital basically, or the centre, just finding out like roughly how long I had to wait. And this was for an ADHD diagnosis, because I found that with menopause, I managed quite well all my life, but now I just can't help. It's a mess. But anyway, I accept that. And that's what I've heard has been quite common, is that when menopause hits, like, you can mask a lot, but once those hormonal changes come in, that's when women realize they're going, oh my God, what is wrong with me again? But no, there's nothing wrong with me. So anyway, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I contacted South Coast Private for them to tell me that they had apparently sent my referring doctor an email stating that they had no openings for anyone to do ADHD diagnosis. And they still have no psychiatrist with openings to even treat anyone with ADHD. Yeah, I'm now looking around just to find what's affordable so that I can go through the formal diagnosis. So
I hear that, and you've said that you've taken stuff online, and other people who have autism have picked up things in you. And for me, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yes, we can get a formal diagnosis, but it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, it doesn't. It only really does if you plan on seeking NDIS payments, which I don't. And then also, I suspect that I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, so I have to wait 12 months for genetic testing with that. And I've watched an ADHD chatter podcast where there was an expert in the field who has said that Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is directly related to being neurodivergent. So it was like, there's another tick of the box. Yeah, okay, I'm leaning more towards neurodivergent than neurotypical.
Yes. What's the difference? What's the difference with neurodivergent?
So neurodivergent, there's a cluster of things that fall under that category. Being dyslexic is one of them. And I also found out that there's 7 types of dyslexia. And one of them is also auditory. So with me, I found, so I think it was with I can't remember now what I read it from, but if someone's talking to me and they haven't got my full attention before they start talking to me, I miss the beginning of what they say. I only hear the end. And then so when I ask them to repeat it, most people repeat the end, and it's no, I caught that. So it's like there's a delay in sensory processing, which I agree that I definitely have. So ADHD also falls under neurodivergent, and there's a whole list of superpowers with that, which is that they're able to read a room. And I've always been able to read the room. Like even now with my kids, they can be in another room playing a game, getting upset. And I'm like, take a big deep breath. And they're like, there's nothing wrong. And so I can feel it. So I don't actually have to be in the same room. So I have I'm super sensitive. Everything. I've actually looked at the overlaps between autism, which is also in the neurodivergent bracket. So what is it? Autism, ADHD, and high sensitivity, because I always identified being a highly sensitive person. So then I was looking at, okay, am I just a highly sensitive person and I don't have ADHD, or am I not autistic? But then there's certain things that stand out from each of them that distinguish the difference between them all. So, for example, with ADHD, it's being super focused on many different special interests, not just one. And then, like, you'll be super excited about everything. You'll get all. So, for example, I took a liking to wanting to do epoxy resin stuff last year, probably around this time. I went all out, bought everything, got everything, lost interest. Didn't want to do it anymore. I don't know how many times I've started a course. And then not only do I start one course, but I start 3 courses because I have this love of learning. And then with the autism part, that's where a lot of my social stuff comes in. Like, I was brought up that you need to maintain eye contact. Yeah, I find it really, I wouldn't say, yeah, it's difficult to maintain constant eye contact. And so I will look at all around someone's face while still trying to maintain, like, I'm making eye contact. But if someone stares me eye to eye, I feel so uncomfortable. And there's other things like crowds. I hate being around crowds. I can't stand being around a large amount of people. I want to be social, but I want to be by myself. So this is where I feel like I've had a struggle all my life, because the ADHD part loves going and socializing, but the autistic part is stay away from me. I think I've gone off on a tangent on you. Sorry, Sophia.
It's fine. No, it's perfectly fine, because it's real.
Yeah.
No, it's who you are, and it's explaining for all our listeners all the different types of neurodivergent and what comes under that whole umbrella. Because neurodivergence is a reasonably new word.
Yeah.
It wasn't out. Autism has been around for a while, and ADHD and everything else, but neurodivergence, it's reasonably new. And there may be listeners out there who really don't know what it is. So thank you for explaining that it covers all things. And I didn't know that someone who is dyslexic can also be classified or known as neurodivergent.
Yeah, and so with dyslexia, it's not, so many people just think it's about letters and numbers jumbling around on the screen, but there's also, it's auditory, so dyslexia as well. And yeah, that's what I found fascinating. But in one thing that I do love is that there's a spiritual person, I wouldn't call her a guru, but anyway, Elizabeth April. She has a lot of content, and there was someone that asked her something, her perspective on neurodivergent people and like what they bring, because it seems that there's a lot of people these days who are being diagnosed as either autistic or ADHD, which is autism and ADHD, or on the spectrum of being neurodivergent. And she channels and does communicate with the Galactic Federation. And she said that neurodivergent people have been brought to Earth to help raise Earth's vibration, because we see things differently, we're wired differently, and this is what we need to transcend from 3D to 5D. So when I looked at that, I went, oh, okay, that's cool then. So I think that's probably when I finally accepted that my difference is great and that is my special power, because I've known since I think I was either 17 or 18, that I was here for a reason. And because I had a dream that my guide was standing behind me, and they gave me a necklace with 7 rings and told me that I had been chosen to pick the fruit from the top of the tree. And when I woke up, all my life I'd had a sense of urgency that I needed to hurry up and have it done already, but I didn't know what I needed to hurry up and do. And it wasn't until I started studying welfare at TAFE that sense of urgency went. So then when I put the 2 and 2 together, I went, oh, okay, obviously I'm here to help people, but help people how? Yeah, so that's been also something that just fits with the being neurodivergent. It's if I was the same as everybody else, I might not have woken up to the fact that I'm here for a very specific mission. Totally. So, yeah, that's probably the greatest blessing I think I have with everything that's happened to me in my life, is the fact that had I had the rosy childhood with no dramas and mum and dad still together and everything peachy clean and what have you, I wouldn't be who I am today. So
exactly. And how has that helped you? How have you been able to turn that in being different, especially being wired differently, to sticking out and knowing that you're here for a purpose now? But how have you used that to turn that into being your greatest gift? How does that help you in your life now?
Self-acceptance, knowing that there was a saying that you were born to shine. Oh, was it? It's a Dr. Seuss thing. I always forget how it goes, but it's like you weren't born to fit in, you were born to stand out. Yes. And so for me, it's that self-acceptance of going, okay, it brings a whole level of understanding to everything. This is why I'm neurodivergent. I'm wired differently, because I am here to help people wake up and to help heal from their own trauma and to break the cycle so they stop repeating negative cycles that keep them trapped and keep us vibrating in that lower level. It's to release it and be full of love, and we're here to enjoy life, like not get bogged down in the nitty gritty of the 9 to 5 and having to keep up with the Joneses and having the best of everything. That's not what life's all about. It's about learning lessons and learning yourself and overcoming that, and self-actualization, as they say in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So it's just been very freeing to know that everything happens for a reason, and that basically I chose this life. Before I incarnated, I knew that there was lessons that I needed to learn, and I planned it all out. So it takes me away from being the victim of what's happened to me to know that I actively chose this situation in order to learn what I needed to learn to fulfill my mission. Yeah. So knowing all that, it just goes, oh, cool. Like there was a reason for everything, and I'm not bogged down in the poor me, worries me, look at everything bad that's happened to me. It's like, I'm not what happened to me. I am a product of what's happened to me, but I've overcome that in a positive way and using it to my advantage, because now not only have I learned everything like through my formal education, but I've lived it. And so therefore I have more, besides being a highly empathetic person, I have that understanding and that empathy, which I believe makes for a better relationship when it comes to other people, because I'm coming from a place of knowing, not teaching. Yeah, both. But I don't know if I explained that well. I know what I mean.
That's all that really matters. And for everyone who is listening, truly, the most important thing is that we know what we mean.
Yeah.
No matter what, because it's our life. And I love it how you talk about like that everything happens for a reason. You're speaking my language. It's exactly the way that I feel, that we were here for a purpose.
Yeah.
And that when we can find that purpose, then life just opens up. And that no matter what happens to us in our journey, it's all meant. Everything
Yeah.
is meant.
Everything happens for a reason. Everything that happens to us in life is a lesson. There's a lesson to be learned in it, and it's up to us to find that lesson. And I guess that's such an empowering aspect of looking at all the bad. Oh, I can say bad. There is no bad. It is what it is. But the less than desirable, let's put it that way. Like those situations always come with the biggest lessons, but it's up to us to look at it that way and to find what lesson it was that we needed to learn. Like I know one of my biggest lessons is boundaries. To stop being, and people pleasing comes from childhood trauma. And so I need to stop abandoning me, and I need to put in boundaries and to feel that's okay, because I've always felt selfish for putting up boundaries or for not bending to make other people happy. And at the end of the day, that hasn't served me very well. Yeah. So, but again, that's from me sitting back and looking at everything that's happened in my life and going, all right, so what is it that I've had to learn from this? What didn't I do that was in the best interest for me or whatever? And I go, oh, yep, okay, boundaries again. Okay, yep. Maybe if I had to set some boundaries, I wouldn't have gone through that. But you have to go through the bad in order to learn.
Of course, it's all lessons.
Yep.
It's only if you don't learn the lessons that it keeps happening.
Yeah, exactly. So if you find yourself in, oh, it's happened again, like you're attracting the same type of person into your life, you didn't learn the lesson. What lesson was it that you needed to learn?
Totally. And what about, Mel, for any listener who suspects that they might be neurodivergent, but they haven't been diagnosed because, like you said, it takes a long time and it costs a lot of money,
Yeah.
but they're not sure where to start. What's one step that they can take today?
Do some online quizzes, because there are a lot of free quizzes that you can do out there that will give you an idea. So for me, because it is so expensive to have a formal diagnosis, if you're unsure, do some of the free quizzes. Obviously, Centrelink and NDIS and other government agencies are not going to accept an online self-administered quiz or whatever to give you a formal diagnosis. It has to be done by a medical professional, but it will give you a good basis on whether you should look at getting a formal diagnosis, because it is so expensive. If you do the course, do a quiz, for example, for ADHD, and it comes back that you're not, at least then you've saved yourself $800 for going to see a professional and for them to assess you to say no. There are quizzes that you can do for autism as well. But I think what I did, I just Googled it. And then so if you look at ones that are from a reputable place, so if it's a university or I can't even remember. There was one that I did for autism, but I can't remember the name of it.
Okay.
The APSI quiz, maybe, because obviously before, if you were a high functioning autistic, you were known as having Asperger's, whereas that's no longer a formal diagnosis. Now you either have autism 1, 2, or 3. But yeah, so there are heaps of free online ones to do, and that will give you an idea of, whether you should look at going down the road of forking out an arm and a leg to be diagnosed formally.
True. So thank you very much. And for everyone who is listening, like Mel said, just Google things. I don't always recommend asking Dr. Google for healthcare issues, but just to do a quiz and things before going down that road of getting a formal diagnosis will certainly help. Will start you down. So thank you for that. And one other question about that, if you could speak to your younger self, right? That little girl who felt like she was an outsider. What would you want her to know now?
That it's okay to not fit in. Yeah, that everything will be all right. Just trust yourself. Trust your gut. Please trust your gut because it never lets you down. Like I've always been highly intuitive, but geez, that was a lesson that I had to learn from not trusting my gut to go, oh, hang on a minute, that feeling here that I get, yeah, that's probably should listen to that because it never leads you astray. It always is trying to guide you in the right direction. And I wish that I would have known that it's okay to be seen and it's okay to have your superpowers. I used to have a lot of premonition dreams when I was a kid and they didn't always end up so well for me emotionally. And so I've blocked that part. Yeah, I don't have premonition dreams anymore. I think because it was the outcomes of what had happened was hard for me emotionally. That yeah, I stopped that because it was too hard to deal with, which I wish I had never have done that. It's okay. It's safe to be who you are.
It absolutely is. Thank you. It is safe to be who you are. I'm going to write that down and make it my motto.
Yeah, me too. Maybe I should take my own advice.
And what about now? How has embracing your neurodivergence affected your relationships, like the way you show up in your relationships with all your relationships, your family, your friends, and even your clients?
I find that I am unmasking a lot. So I guess to give clarity to that, all my life, I have tried to suck it up and put on this big brave face and put myself in situations that made me uncomfortable, like going out shopping on a Thursday or I avoid shops if I can help it when people are there. So I would go shopping on a Monday or Tuesday or a Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, forget it. I would never go to a shop. But I used to put myself in that situation where I would. Whereas I've got two of my best friends I've known since high school, and we've been trying to organise a girls' night to catch up or just to catch up together, not necessarily a night. And they're like, "Oh, would you like to go out for dinner?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I don't actually," because of all that background noise of the just it's too overstimulating, and I just want to catch up with my girlfriends and chat. I don't have the energy to try and block out all the other noises while trying to maintain a conversation with them. And so before, I would just go and then I'd be exhausted and or I'd leave early and stuff. Whereas now I just go, yeah, nah, I don't feel like doing that. And but you can do that if you want. I'll just catch up another time. And I guess how that my family, I guess I still mask in front of my family because they're not open minded. My sister probably is one of the more open minded about it. But yeah, like I posted something about having Ehlers-Danlos, and my dad's gone, oh, Dr. Googling again. And it's no, Dad, I have a heart condition that says that I have Ehlers-Danlos. So yeah, my family's been a hard one. But then with my clients, I am just me. There's no masking. Which is nice actually. I finally feel comfortable to be me and to not put on a mask and try to be someone that's got it all together and who doesn't lose their train of thought when asked a question. It's just so I guess for me, feeling like it's okay to be me, I give permission for others to do the same. And I don't judge. There's no point, like, I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect. Like I said to my kids all the time, if I was perfect, I wouldn't be here. I'd be an ascended master watching and guiding others. But yeah, no judgment. And I'm learning not to judge myself now because there is a reason for the way that I am. And so self acceptance, non judging, it's freeing.
And thank you. And it is. It's very much freeing when you really can go into accept yourself and without judging yourself, because it also gives other people permission not to judge you and to accept, and you accept others as well. So thank you. And that's a beautiful segue, Mel, because I wanted to talk to you about your business and your coaching. You're an intuitive life coach. Energy healer. So tell us all about that, and how can you actually help other people?
Considering I have my own trauma background,
Yes.
and I have formal education. So I have my main focus also is on non-medication aspects of being able to deal with things. So for example, I have studied in emotional freedom technique. I am a qualified breathwork instructor. I am currently finishing off my quantum energy healing activator course. How I help people?
What sort of problems do people have when they come and see you?
Trauma. So childhood trauma that they want to get over. If they've been suppressing fear, so I'm also compassion keys that are healing is stuff that I've done. So I have an eclectic bag that I help people with. I can help with anxiety, depression, self-acceptance, with feeling, just overall wanting to feel better, or if they're stuck and don't know where to go in life. I also have been very much aware of human design and numerology. So, like, I can sit with people and go through that kind of stuff to work out where their strengths lie and what would be a great road to travel down for them. So, I don't think I necessarily have a niche so much, because I've experienced a lot in my life. Like, I've overcome addiction. I've had very unhealthy relationships, so I can help people with, I'd like to think I can help people setting boundaries. I'm still learning that one myself, but wouldn't say I'm an expert in setting boundaries, but I can definitely help people to see that maybe they don't have boundaries, and that's the problem, why they're finding themselves repeating cycles or getting to the same unhealthy relationships. That's a good question. I just have the right words to say to people. So that's why I call myself an intuitive life coach, because I don't know, like, if someone comes to me, I just know that I'm able to help them. Like,
anyone out there who is listening and would like to connect with Mel, do click on those links below, because I'm pretty well sure, Mel, that there's a lot of people out there, women especially, who are really not sure of what their purpose is, not sure of what even that they're meant to do today or tomorrow. So it's not a problem. I think you would connect with a lot of women. So thank you so much for sharing. And now you do have programs. Tell us about your actual programs that you offer.
they are a work in progress at the moment, but I do have one for building resilience. I haven't actually launched it yet because I'm classic ADHD brain. I've got a lot of things going all at once, and then I've burnt myself out. So I actually haven't done anything for the last month. I do also have one on healing from trauma, and that doesn't have to be childhood trauma, that can be trauma of any kind. And then I have started one building resilience for kids as well. So I think I should probably just learn to focus on one and get one finished so that they're actually out there. But that is my plan for the next month, is to get these finalized and stop procrastinating to get them out there. Yeah.
Yeah. And we look forward to it. And when you do have them out there, maybe you can come back and we can talk about your programs then.
Yeah.
Definitely do talk about it. You mentioned about overwhelm, and I think experiencing overwhelm is one of the silent pandemics that the world is experiencing. You know, they talk about pandemics, but I think overwhelm is one of them.
Yeah. And burnout.
Overwhelm and burnout. So for you, Mel, what's your go-to way to ground yourself, especially when you're experiencing overwhelm and burnout?
Listen to my body and have no judgment. So, for example, the last two, maybe not, so the last week I've been okay, but the 2 weeks prior to that, I didn't have the energy to do anything. I couldn't even get out of bed, and that was okay. I didn't berate myself like I would usually, I was listening to my body. And I went, okay, yep, I've overdone it because I've been trying to get so much done in a short period of time and trying to do too much, which is what led me to go to the doctors, because it's, and also to realize is, yeah, menopause and this hormonal thing is really affecting my ability to manage my life at the moment. That's okay. And that's really hard, to considering I was a single mum, I was working, I was doing uni, like I have been so capable. And the fact that I wasn't even capable to do anything except get out of bed and go to the toilet, that's so be it. Yeah.
And it's so true.
Accept where you're at. Don't push yourself, because definitely don't berate yourself, because I was doing that. I've only recently stopped and gone, hang on a minute. And the one thing that made me realize this is that Dr. Emoto's experiment on water,
Yes.
where he would think nice things and look at the beautiful shapes that they created once the water was frozen, and then the distortion that happened to that same water that was spoken to negatively about, and me thinking to myself, hang on a minute, we're mostly water. If I am thinking bad things about myself, what am I doing to myself? This is not helping me at all. So then it's right. So then I would say, what's wrong with me? And go, hang on a minute. No, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just experiencing a new thing. I haven't faced this before. This is a new experience. And just because I'm not doing what I would usually do doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with me. It's just different. And that's okay. And the minute that I changed that self-perception and that mindset, I've literally felt a weight lift off my shoulders. And I was like, oh, wow. And then I'd realized how much harder I'd been making it for myself. And my mental health had taken a huge toll, because I was berating myself constantly and going, what's wrong with you? You used to be able to do this and this and all at once, and now you can't even. I can move a mess from one side of my room to the other now. I've never struggled with housework. I am now. So there's a first time for everything. But you've got to laugh and just be nice to yourself.
And be nice to yourself. So very true. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And a couple of more questions before we wrap up. What is one myth about ADHD that you wish would go away?
It's not always that you're hyperactive and you can't sit still. Yeah, with the time blindness is a real thing. It's not an excuse. And people with ADHD do find it very difficult to get certain things started. And so procrastination is not an excuse. It is real. That's probably the biggest one, actually, is thinking that procrastination is laziness. No, it's not. It's a sign of overwhelm and not having that executive function to be able to overcome the paralysis that you put yourself in. And yeah, there's a thing that's like someone with ADHD, if they've got an appointment at 3:00 in the afternoon, that they can't do anything else in the morning. And that's because we know that we have that time blindness, and that so if we start something, we're likely to forget about the thing that we need to do at 3:00 in the afternoon. So if you don't do anything, then that means you'll remember. Yeah, and that's not it's not an excuse. That's just the way it is.
And yes, and I agree with you. It's just the way it is. It's truly not an excuse.
And it's not meant to hurt anybody either.
Like, it's not. And it's not beating yourself up.
No.
It is your reality, and that's all that really matters. That's all. And Mel, it's been a wonder to talk to you today. But before we go, is there any last question that I could have asked you? And how would you answer?
No, not that I can think of now. As being an ADHD brain, I'll probably think of a million later on this afternoon. Because again, there's that delay in processing, stuff.
Okay.
But no.
And I know before we came on, we were talking about your offers, and you have an offer for anyone to receive an intuitive healing or a life coaching session at for 45 minutes. So thank you ever so much. We will be putting the links below. And for anyone out there who would like to connect with Mel, do click on the links below, because you just never know, even if it is just for a chat.
Yeah. Yep. And so that's why I'm offering the free 45-minute session. Like, it can just be a chat if you don't feel a healing, like the need for a healing or anything. If you just want to talk to someone who may be in a similar situation as me and just discovering that, oh, hang on a minute, maybe I do have ADHD, because it's always misdiagnosed in women. Usually you're diagnosed with anxiety or depression, or even borderline personality disorder, that's pretty serious diagnosis when all it is ADHD, but it's just been missed. So
why do you think that is, especially for women? Why do women get misdiagnosed?
Because it hasn't always been seen that women have ADHD. And with women with ADHD, with boys, it's visible. They are the ones that can't sit still. They have more the hyperactivity where they're constantly tapping or like moving around and stuff, whereas women tend to internalize it. And now I've lost the word. I know it starts with I. It's more inattentive. So women will often go off in a daydream. Like, I was actually shocked to watch a reel on Facebook where it said a husband was in bed with his wife and going, this is the reaction to my wife just realizing that some people have a time in their head where there are no thoughts. And I was like, what? How is that possible? How can someone not have a thought? I have a million thoughts going constantly, which is why I struggle to meditate with no guided meditation. And then I have a girlfriend whose son was just diagnosed with ADHD. And so I just happened, because I said, you do know that has genetic components, don't you? And so I shared something with her and she goes, what do you mean there's no such thing as people having no thoughts in their head? I went, see. Now I've forgotten what I was going off about there.
That's okay. Thank you, Mel. We're talking about why are women misdiagnosed, especially more than men. But
because we internalize it, and all those thoughts running through your head where
yes,
it's not visible. And then so if you go and see a medical professional and tell them about all these things, a lot of the time it's seen as being a personality disorder rather than an attention deficit. So there's a lot of overlaps as well with borderline personality disorder. And because with borderline personality disorder, people often they don't have a strong sense of self. And people with ADHD, or women with ADHD, will often find themselves mimicking the behaviors and stuff of their friends in order to fit in. Yes. And so that's one thing that with the overlap where it will more look like borderline personality disorder rather than ADHD.
Thank you, Mel. Thank you for sharing all your wisdom and your experience of being neurodivergent, especially not even really knowing about it until later in life, an adult with autism, and being real in ADHD and everything else that you've mentioned, because you are a real person. So it's been an honor to talk to you today.
Thank you, Sophia.
Truly. And I look forward to when your programs do come out. Come back and tell us about it.
Yes, I would love to. It'd be my pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today for our exciting conversation with Mel, who is such an inspiration in being real and living life as a neurodivergent woman. To find out more on everything that Mel offers, please click on the links below and take her up on her offer for a 45-minute intuitive healing or her life coaching session. For more empowering conversations, tools and strategies, do follow Sacred You on all our social media or visit our website at www.sacredyou, that's the letter U, .love. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss another episode. Remember, in Mel's own words, it is safe to be who you are. Stay grounded, stay inspired, stay connected. Until next time, keep walking your pathway to well-being.